Thinking of a savory recipe for your afternoon tea? Then welcome to Majid's Kitchen. In today's video, we make spicy potato pastries, similar to potato samosas. We will do this in 3 simple steps: the dough, the filling, and the cooking. If you need a recipe for the filling, then check out Majid's Kitchen playlist. You'll find the recipe right there. The other 2 ingredients for the pastries, 3 ingredients I should say, is 300 flour, 20 grams of butter, and a good pinch of salt, and 170 ml of ice cold water. The first step is to incorporate the butter into the flour by mixing it gently but quickly. You don't want to melt the butter. So if you have cold hands, this recipe will turn out great. Let's add in the flour. And let's add in the butter. Now I'm going to gently work the butter into the flour. We're going to work quickly, so just kind of break it up quickly, just like this, and press lightly and mix the flour. Keep the flour on the butter, that way it won't stick to your hands, and keep moving just like this, and soon you'll find the butter breaking down into little small pea-sized or smaller than pea-sized crumbs, and then you know you've worked the butter into the flour. Okay, I'm just going to show you. You can hardly see any lumps of butter in there. Okay, don't forget to add the salt in and give it a quick mix. Okay. And the next stage or step is to just make a well, and then put half your water in. Don't put all the water at once, and slowly work it in. And that's about half. Just give it a light mix. Then we put a little bit more here. And once kind of get it coming together, we're going to use our hands to mix it and form a dough. It's very similar to your 3-2-1 pastry. Okay. So it's starting to form. And just keep adding a little bit of water at a time, a touch more of water, and that will be it. And we're going to bring it into a dough. Okay. You need to work it a little bit, and once you've got your dough nice and smooth, we're going to wrap it with saran wrap and put it in the fridge to rest for half an hour. Put some flour on as well. Okay, that's been about 6 minutes. Our dough is ready. It's a stiff dough. It doesn't have a lot of fat in it, which means that when you fry it, it's going to be crispy. Okay, so we're just going to wrap it with saran wrap. And while this rests in the fridge for 30 minutes, you can check out this recipe for the dry spiced potatoes, and start working on this and let it cool, and that will be your filling for these tasty treats. Okay, it's been 30 minutes. The dough has relaxed, and you can see it's pretty elastic. It doesn't stretch too much, so looks about, you see that? Very elastic. So what we're going to do is, and then we're going to roll it out. So once you've rolled it out, you can kind of stretch the dough, almost like how you'd stretch probably a pizza dough. Okay, so we'll keep that under there for now, and we'll roll one. You know, what I find is if you roll it and you're trying to get it round, it usually doesn't come out round. So I'm using this part of the rolling pin, and I'm gonna keep turning it, and hopefully we get a nice round shape. See? Sort of a flour surface. Now, if you're an expert in making rotis, sometimes they get it that the dough actually turns on its own. As you can see, there it comes round, right? And now you see the dough slowly starting to spin round, but it will only turn if you have a little flour, so it doesn't stick. That's going to help it work. Okay, so, and you're going to put a little bit onto the rolling pin itself. You see, it slowly starts to turn, and you can just feel your way through. So you want it about 3 inches in diameter. You're going to put your filling in there, and we're going to fold it over, and you can use a fork or you can crimp it together with your fingers, kind of pinch all the way around. So folks, here you have it. Now I've already rolled them up. As you know, it takes a little bit of time, but the most important thing is to put flour, a little bit of flour as you're rolling, and in between the layers, so it doesn't stick. And if you're going to roll them right away, that would be okay. But if you are going to roll them later on in the day, you'd want to perhaps put paper between them and keep it in the fridge. Also, when rolling and stacking, keep it covered to prevent them from drying. Use a saran wrap, or you can use a kitchen towel. So I've taken those spiced potatoes I had. As you can see, I've used some, but I've smashed them slightly. Not all the way, but at least 60% of it. And I've made a few. I'm going to do a couple here so you can see how I did it. And that was a few that I made already. So to make things a little bit faster, I do like 3 at a time, just like this, form an assembly line. So smashing the potatoes also helps it to sit when you place them onto each one. And as I come to the next one, I'll show you roughly where you should put in the filling. So have an imaginary line in the center, and that's where you want to place the potato. So just on the line, you could say, and we're using about just under a spoonful. You don't want to overfill it. and it still gives an edge on the side to crimp or close the pastries. So there you go again. You just go with a little at a time and kind of squish it in there, just like this. And you go hold, and then when you take the pastry, pull it slightly, hold it, pull it over, and go around. Remember to press out the air from the sides. Okay? And take a fork and seal it in. Now with this, you don't need to put an egg wash to hold it down or anything. It will seal on its own. Here's your filling. Hold it like this, stretch and go over and tuck. Put your hand there and press down, hold it down, go all the way, make sure there's no air. Take a fork and crimp the edges. And what we're going to do is we're going to trim it just so that it neatly. Okay, I'll show you one more. There you have it on the line. Pull it, hold it, and go around and gently push it down, taking out the air from the sides, and press it all the way around. Take a fork. Very easy. Now I like to ensure that it has a proper seal on it, but I don't like to have that excess of pastry, so you can just one go all the way around, and that will just give you a neater looking one. I'll show you again. So just take the edges off, don't go in too deep. That makes it a lot neater. One more time. And as soon as you've done a couple, place them on the tray. And at this point we can start frying while we make the rest of them. So now the final stage, which is frying. Take your pastries and make sure the oil is hot, and slowly drop them in away from you to avoid splashing. If your oil is not hot enough, it will absorb oil and be very oily. And as you can see, 3 or maybe 4 would be good in the pan, but I'm going to stay with 3. Notice the blistering of the dough. This is very significant, as the potato samosas, you would find this very similar effect. So that's when you know that the dough is really good. It is a simple dough, very difficult to knead because of the flour and less fat. Very elastic, but really crisp and ideal for this recipe. I just keep turning them around until they're nice and golden. And I have some right here. Just look at that beautiful golden brown color. Shake with the oil and get it right on there. It's singing. So happy. So our fried potato pastries are done and looking really delicious. You can just see the texture on those pastries. And here I'm serving them with 4 chutneys. This one is a sweet chili tomato chutney, a mint chutney, a tamarind chutney, and last but not least, peanut and coriander chutney. This is a slightly drier version, but they are very unique in their flavors. And if you want these recipes, have a look at the other videos. I have a recipe for each one of these. So make your parties talk of the town with Majid's Kitchen. Thanks for watching.